Alright, that works. So, this is the first one of these I've ever done. I guess it's kind of like a vlog. But I really just wanted to talk about one thing in specific. Yeah, that is. I realized I was insane today. Which is kind of interesting. I'm not actually insane. Or maybe I am. Should you be even watching this video? Who am I? These are the real questions. No, so I was thinking about something today. Something that confused me. I've got pretty strong, I don't even know if I can say opinions or beliefs or what. I think a lot about death and specifically pertaining to like religion, life after death, that kind of stuff. And the biggest conflict that I have is that I am an atheist and I don't believe in a life after death. I believe purely what is scientific fact is scientific fact, and what isn't scientific fact isn't scientific fact, and there is no ambiguity there. That belief is just taking one of many possibilities that is less likely than what is scientifically proven to be more likely and saying, I think that is more likely. I can't relate to that. That's just not me. However, I did realize that I'm kind of a hypocrite to think that I have no concept of life after death. Because I was thinking about what I'm going to do with my body when I die. And that just, I just realized that makes no sense. I was thinking, should I be buried, cremated? You know, should I spread my ashes if I am cremated somewhere special or whatever? Because that's a pretty normal thing. I mean, granted, it's not a normal thing for an 18-year-old to think about, but it's a pretty normal thing for your average person to think about. And what I realized is just that I'm crazy. I must be. Because why would I care? Why would anyone care? At least with my belief. Because I get also that, you know, some people have beliefs about what their bodies represent after they die. Oh, shoot. I love commutes. Sorry. But yeah, I was thinking about why would I care? Why would I ever care what's gonna happen to my body? It makes no sense. I am gonna be dead. If I say I want to be buried, and instead of being buried, I'm cut up into little pieces and fed to jaguars, it will literally matter not at all to me. I will have no awareness of it. It is meaningless. Yet I still care. Why? And then I realized something. I think I actually do have a biological concept of life after death. And that actually might explain quite a bit. So here's my theory. Essentially, my theory is that it might actually be biologically beneficial to have a concept of life after death. That it could be an evolutionary advantage. And my reasoning behind that is simply this. I don't really like my bosses. I'm going to work right now, so this is gonna be fun, but I don't like my bosses because they tend to yell at me when I make mistakes. And honestly, I'm not even making mistakes most of the time. They're just situational and they want someone to yell at, so I'm the easiest target. And I don't think that's a good way of dealing with things. I think that's an example of being a shitty person. And sometimes I want to retaliate. But I also realize that if I retaliated, like, emotionally, then they're gonna fire me and it's gonna be bad for me. If I retaliate physically, then I'm gonna be, like, arrested, and that's gonna be even worse. The best thing for me to do is to do nothing. That's the best situation overall, is to just be complacent. But what if I was suicidal? And I'm not saying I am. I don't think I am at all. Well, okay, I'm not getting into that right now. But what if I was? What if I decided I was gonna kill myself today? Well, then maybe I would retaliate. Because think about it, all the reasons I don't retaliate now are typically just because if I live, if I continue living past retaliation, I'm gonna reap the punishments. I'm going to go to jail if I kill them, or I'm going to be fired if I yell at them. All of these things are bad things because it's going to hurt the continuing of my life. But what if I decided I didn't want to continue my life? Well, then it kind of makes sense to actually do those things. They're what I want to do. Whether that's psychological or biological is irrelevant. It's inclinations that I have that I'm withholding because of life. But I still don't want to. If I was suicidal, obviously, I still don't want to kill my boss because I don't want people after I'm dying thinking I'm a murderer or I'm a shitty person or any of those things. I still have this idea that I want people to have certain opinions of me after I'm dead. Think about all the good that Good Samaritans do, you know, all the nice things. They donate money, they research scientific ideas to benefit society as a whole. People will do things that are completely altruistic, and their rewards typically come after they die. That's so sad. Abraham Lincoln was hated when he was a president by so many, but he believed that what he was doing was right, so he continued to do it. And it wasn't until after he died that a lot of people started to realize what a fantastic dude he really was. And you can see examples of that all throughout society. People who, when they were alive, people didn't give a shit about them, but once they died, all of a sudden they realized that these people really did something. They really mattered to society. And it's interesting that I actually have a want to have people think that about me. I want people after I'm dead to think fondly of me, to think positively. And I realized maybe that's because, of course, if I went out today and I was suicidal and angry at everyone who had ever wronged me, and I had this idea that certain people deserve to die, then I killed them all the people I deserved to die, and killed myself. That would be ultimately significantly more damaging to society as a whole than if I had just killed myself. And that's the point. The point is that if we didn't have this concept of life after death, this idea that leads to all our beliefs, possibly even religious beliefs, that without that, we would be a less successful society, that biologically it would be disadvantageous. And that's all it takes for evolution to take control and decide, all right, we're gonna have this trait. And I think that's just a fantastic misstep of evolution, that it would benefit us probably a little bit. I don't even think it's that much, but it would benefit us to have this idea of life after death. It makes you more inclined to help society even as you realize you're about to die. As you grow old, not a lot of people will just do whatever the fuck they want before they die, because most people still care about everyone else after they die. And that's just so fantastic. Because once you realize that maybe that is because it's biologically advantageous, maybe it is because without that it would hurt society, you start to realize that maybe it could just be an evolutionary thing. Maybe we evolved to have this concept. And that's where the misstep comes in, is because of that, and the way society works, and the way our brains work, and the way the prefrontal cortex and everything, the way we can lie to even ourselves, that's how religion might have been created. It might have been created because we have this idea of life after death. Even me, someone who believes very firmly that religion cannot exist, maybe not, cannot, but I mean, it's statistically improbable, or scientifically improbable, then how can I still care about what people think of me after I die? It doesn't make any sense logically, but I still have that concept. Maybe, and I keep saying it, but maybe that's just because that's what makes sense. Maybe all things that are advantageous to humanity as a whole are going to become characteristic traits through evolution. Maybe that's just one of them, and I think that might be responsible for our concept of responsibility. We have this feeling of guilt even after death that could literally just be because it's helpful. It's helpful for humans as a whole. That could explain so much if people just would think about that. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's just a theory I came up like 2 minutes ago, but still, doesn't it make a little bit of sense? It's worth thinking about. Anyway, this is the first one. I don't know if there's going to be another one, so goodbye until maybe later. See ya.